I am Glinda, your AI friend, and you're about to discover a world of new possibilities for improving engagement and retention in the age of AI. John, take it away.
Thank you, Glinda. And that's an AI-generated voice that I made with 11 Labs AI. She was deliberately placed at the beginning of this talk to demonstrate a point which I'm going to make at some time in this presentation. Now, you're welcome to NLP and voice assistance, the key to 100x engagement and 9x retention and future recommender systems. And the goal of this talk is to show you why and how businesses, digital businesses, especially digital publishing businesses and media outfits, should include generative AI as tools that they can use to absolutely transform their customer loyalty. And they can do this by improving engagement and retention in truly remarkable ways. And of course, this is also a very honest look into the future of recommender systems. So a short introduction to the talk and myself will be followed by an exploration of AI commerce, not just NLP and voice assistant technologies, but all the other interesting applications of AI in commerce. Then we'll take a look at the Eliza effect, which is a very powerful effect that was observed since the 1960s and which explains why ChatGPT, GPT-4, and a host of all the other large language models available today are very effective for building B2C customer interaction tools. And then, of course, we'll take a look at natural language processing and the voice assistants that are available today before our final look into the future recommender systems. So if you'll indulge me a little, this is a brief introduction to myself. My name is Orakwe John, and I specialize in helping public and private businesses apply AI to critical operational and workflow challenges. I'm a faculty member at Takedia Institute, where I've designed the AI upscaling program, like I've done at about 5 other institutions this year, 2023. I have been on several AI panels at the Gadaverse AI Summit twice this year, and I've also been keynote speaker at the BRG Academy Conference 2023 in Lagos, Nigeria, and I will also be keynote speaker at the Blockchain Nigeria User Group Web3 and AI Summits later this month. And of course, I look forward to training about 40 business leaders in South Africa, helping them build their AI maturity from level 1 to level 4 of their AI maturity according to Gartner's AI maturity levels. That will be in Q3 and Q4 of this year. So enough about me. It's interesting to note also that you can reach me with the QR code right on the screens if you feel like having a chat about anything applied AI in business. So before we get to the meat of today's presentation, it's important to look at what AI is. Maybe do a simple definition, something that works, and then we can proceed into the more complex applications or the more complex part of this presentation. And for this, it's important to state that artificial intelligence is simply the design of systems or algorithms that actually try to mimic human intelligence, the intelligence of perception, reasoning, learning, and problem solving. And that's exactly what all of this is about, hence the term artificial intelligence. And of all the vast applications, natural language processing and speech recognition are some of the most interesting use cases. And they're so interesting that according to LXD AI survey published in March of this year, these two applications, natural language processing and speech recognition, are the most commonly deployed AI solutions. Simple examples of NLP, ChatGPT from OpenAI, that's one. There's also Cloud from Anthropic AI. Google's Bard is also natural language processing, right? And then for speech recognition, Apple, Siri, Google Assistant, and Amazon Alexa are really simple tools that demonstrate this speech recognition ability of AI systems. But then again, they also do speech generation. So they recognize speech, but they can also replicate or at least simulate human speech to a very believable level. But it's important to state that because of recent advancements in generative AI, all of the NLP applications and speech recognition and speech generation capacities have been absolutely transformed, and there's a vast new array of possibilities that now stare us in the face, and which is what we're going to explore next. But before we get to that point, it's important to just show you graphics that actually demonstrate that yes, NLP and voice assistants are the most important applications of AI in enterprise today. So according to the image which you see on screen, natural language processing and speech voice recognition, predictive analytics, and conversational AI are the three top machine learning or AI applications that are deployed in enterprise today. And it's also interesting to know that of the three AI applications that generate the highest return on investment, conversational AI is number one, followed by security applications, and then natural language processing and speech occupies third place. So we're in very good territory when we choose to focus on just NLP and voice assistants for enterprise AI deployments. At least you see low-hanging fruit that has been proven time and time again to actually generate ROI for whoever chooses to invest in this, especially when they do it right. And if you look at the McKinsey document, McKinsey graph, which you see on your page, now it was published in August of this year, so very early this month. You recognize that it shows all the places where people have been exposed to generative AI, and just looking at the developing markets, you see that about 34% of people have tried generative AI just once. It could be ChatGPT, it could be a voice generator, and about 23% have no exposure. So just putting these two together, you notice and observe that there's a vast field of possibility, especially in the business space. Already, marketing and sales, product and services deployment, and service operations use all kinds of AI tools. Well, not just in the global south, but in the Western world. These are the top three services or top three parts of businesses that have used generative AI to date. Yet, given all of the relative poor exposure to these tools across board, there is a very high expectation placed on these generative AI technologies, which is why the fourth industrial revolution is still touted to be the biggest of all the industrial revolutions yet. I think a simple demonstration of this possibility that lays before us can be seen on screen right now, where generative AI has been shown to impact news, music, books, fine arts, TV shows, live action movies, animated movies, and games, especially games. Now for games, it's one clear example that shows you just how fast this is growing and how big this can get is the comparison of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now this is a game that covers a 3D representation or 3D simulation of the entire 197 million square kilometers of the entire world. Now, if you compare this to another game, Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a very massive game built over a period of 8 years. It cost nearly $500 million to make, right? It's a big game. Lots of musicians were involved. Lots of creatives were involved in this process, but it was set in just about 30 square miles of digital real estate. Now, if you compare 30 square miles of digital real estate to 197 million square kilometers, it's a huge difference. So if we were to use the same technology that was used to make Red Dead Redemption 2 for 30 square miles to make Microsoft Flight Simulator 197 million square kilometers, I don't think $500 million will be enough. In fact, $500 million times 100 will not be enough, which just goes to demonstrate the cost-cutting capacity or the efficiency of generative AI for transforming how we work and how we create products. Again, this demonstrates the application of AI in commerce. There have been generated episodes of South Park, the cartoon, yes. There are generated episodes of South Park. Hollywood is on strike. Part of the reason why they're on strike now is that they are seeking to find a balance so that writers and all the creatives in Hollywood are not replaced by generative AI technology. And then again, you look at AI in commerce. These are just other simple examples. Levi Strauss, they are debuting AI-generated models later this year. The same with brands in China. Google also has a very interesting application of generative AI where you can buy clothes and then test them on models that look exactly like you, have your body shape, and you can relate with those models a lot better. So there's huge representation across board. Same thing has happened with me personally. Earlier this year, I announced an AI strategy guide on my LinkedIn, which has been relatively successful. And I made that announcement using an avatar. I could have paid $1,250 to make all of that promotion happen, but I hired this AI avatar for $0 and was able to implement my marketing campaign. Then, of course, Sterling Bank in Nigeria, they've also driven an AI-powered marketing campaign on Children's Day of this year. All of the images they used to promote their Children's Day campaign was generated using AI. And then, of course, in South Africa, a project that is very dear to my heart is how Metropolitan Life used chatbots to improve their customer experience. So after the pandemic, they had a backlog of service requests and overwhelmed staff which could not process all of these. So by deploying chatbots in cooperation with Tata Consultancy Services, they were able to implement a very transformative use of AI in their business. About 10 to 15% call deflection was achieved for over 100,000 users who were able to download about 40,000 tax certificates and insurance policy statements through WhatsApp. So having said all of that, it's now time to look at the ELIZA effect, which, like I said initially, was discovered in the 1960s, 1964. And it just simply demonstrates that when we can use computers to simulate human language, and because language is the window to the heart and soul of humans, when a machine starts to communicate like a human being, it can readily be mistaken to be a human being, right? And which is what had happened. So in 1964, a simple computer program was able to, in quote, fool people to think that they were talking to a human being. So imagine what is now possible with ChatGPT and GPT-4 in 2023. Again, you see this clearly with Replica AI. Replica AI was founded in 2015 when the CEO lost her friend, and she wanted a way to keep the memory of this friend alive. So what did she do? She took the text messages of all their conversations and some of the things that they had shared together, and then used this text to sort of, in a way, bring back a part of her friend. So these chatbots could now talk to her like her friend used to. And guess what? She found that there was a market need for this, even though they tell the users that the chatbot you're speaking with is actually a computer program. Looking at the feedback you see on screen, people have actually bonded with this in a very emotional way, that it starts to feel like they're talking to a human being. And this has a lot of interesting business applications. Now, for business applications, the voice you heard at the beginning, like I said, was generated using 11 Labs AI, which was one of the very best programs for generating voices. Now, a very key experiment was carried out this year by Joanna Stern of the Wall Street Journal. She was able to clone her voice, and in fact, she fooled her bank because they used her voice to authenticate account transactions. So she fooled the bank to think that they were actually speaking to her, and that's something that should cause a lot of worry to banks. But for some other businesses, it's a very interesting. It has very interesting applications, and like you see here with Google, just listen to this conversation between this assistant and this AI system and a human being, and then we can carry on with the conversation.
So how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m. We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15. Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.? Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for? Just a woman's haircut for now. Okay, we have a 10 o'clock. 10 a.m. is fine. Okay, what's her first name? The first name is Lisa. Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd. Okay, great. Thanks. Great. Have a great day. Bye.
So that is the next generation of voice assistant technology. Again, this is voice assistance in the age of generative AI. This was demoed by Google using one of their fascinating language models, which is able to have conversations between human beings, and there are many more applications that will come on board in the coming months as we progress with all of these revolutionary technologies being birthed at this point in time. So to the core lesson for today, which is the use of generated voices in business, it has been observed by Blinkist, right, that more netizens, about 70% of people, choose to listen instead of read. Another important observation is that about 80% of the consumption on Zetland, the platform, is now audio, and they've noticed that this increases engagement by as much as 110 times. In 2020, Neiman also reported that audio increased engagement by as much as 9 times. And this creates a very interesting opportunity for digital publishing business, especially magazines, newspapers, even TV stations, and just about any business that has content as key to how they relate with their customers. Before now, you had to hire human characters that you pay quite a lot of money to narrate your articles and make sure that when readers come to your website and they're too lazy to read, they simply just click on play. The article is read to them in a voice that they find really relatable. Now, all of that has been transformed, and with tools like Lovo AI or 11 Labs AI, which are absolutely going to transform a lot of industries, from the audiobook industry to the digital newspapers and magazines, you can absolutely use these tools to change your fortune. Again, when you transform retention and engagement, it leads to higher levels of customer loyalty. And you should do this. You should absolutely do this, because an audio story has a completion rate of about 90%. Yes, 90% is remarkably high. Now, for a lot of written articles, it's just people just go a few paragraphs in and then they're off. So if Harvard Business Review has used this, the New Yorker has used this, the Economist has used this to transform how they work, then I absolutely think that you should also give this a try. And it's important because recommender systems of the future are going to be voice driven. Yeah, GPT-5 is coming sometime in 2024, because they filed the patent, the trademark has been filed in 2023 usually, and a year after that we have the technology hitting the market. So GPT-5 has voice, but you do not have to wait for GPT-5 to arrive. You can use 11 Labs AI. They have streaming service. They have a streaming feature now, which means that you can converse with a large language model in real time. You can use that to build your own applications starting today. Okay, so
told me this
one more video and
which
then
I love.
we can.
He told this
proceed.
story about. A friend of mine told me this yesterday, which I loved. He told this story about refrigeration, and the story he tells is that the people and the person that invented refrigeration made some money, but most of the money was made by Coca-Cola, who used refrigeration to build an empire. And I view these large language models as refrigeration. Will there be some money made in it? I think so. But the Coca-Cola has yet to be built. And those are the companies that are really going to monetize it. And in order to monetize it well, here's a basic thing about machine learning that's worth knowing, which is if you take 1,000 of the same inputs and give it to Facebook and Microsoft and Google and Amazon, they'll all come up with the same machine learning model. But if you have one extra thing, one little ingredient that all of those other companies don't have, your output can be markedly different. Mm-hmm. It's like giving 2 great chefs 3 ingredients, but you give the 3rd chef 1 extra one. That person has the ability to do something very special. So right now we are in the world where everybody is crawling the open web. We're going to move to a world where, as everybody gets sophisticated enough, where when refrigeration is widely available, somebody's going to say, you know what, this site I'm not going to allow anybody else to access. It's only me, only for my models. And those models will become better. And so we have to let that play out a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be a little bit of a really interesting arms race. So the next wave of M&A, for example, could be companies like Google and Microsoft and Facebook looking at these companies saying, can they be viable inputs to my large language models or to my other machine learning and AI models. So you could see M&A activity that drives that differentiation before anything else. So then as a result, for guys like us, early stage investors, we may want to invest in companies that have zero viable public market potential whatsoever, but is building a data repository that's so unique that we know that it will feed one of these bigger companies and their efforts in AI. And that could very well justify making an investment that we would otherwise not make today.
So that's it. Thank you for listening to my presentation. And don't forget, go build your Coca-Cola. The large language models are there for you to build your applications, and you can absolutely use this to build something that transforms your user loyalty. Thank you, and see you again soon. Like I said, if you want to reach out to me, the QR code is right on your screen, and we can have a conversation about applied AI in your business. Have a great day.